Welcome back to the channel, guys, and if you can see behind me, it's the Spirit of Tasmania, and yes, we're heading off to Tasmania tonight. As you know, the Spirit of Tasmania is the only way to get your van over to Tasmania. We've been on it before and we've taken you through the ship before, but it was a couple of years ago. So we're going to do it all again, but this time we're going to go through some money saving tips and show you how to actually get to this point. Let's go. First things first, let's talk about what you need to know before boarding. The Spirit of Tasmania is the only way to travel between mainland Australia and Tasmania if you want to take a vehicle, and it's pretty much a floating town in itself. You'll find everything you need on board to make your journey comfortable, but planning ahead can really elevate the experience. Here are a few things to consider. Number 1, make sure you don't have any fruit, vegetables, seafood or honey in your van, because they will come on board and they will dispose of it or confiscate it. So what you have to do is either eat it or throw it away. Make sure you actually empty your bin because you still have it in your van. Number 2, plan your check-in time. The Spirit of Tasmania allows check-in 2.5 hours before and strictly closes 45 minutes before departure. You are free to use the Geelong Departure Lounge, which includes a children's play area and a dedicated pet area for our furry friends. The Spirit of Tasmania boards on height and size of the vehicle, so make sure you are back at your vehicle ready for loading. And another thing to note, they do check the measurements of the vehicle by quick sight, as they have markings on the road as you drive in. It's pretty tight in there, so make sure you advise correctly when booking. You can take your pets over on the Spirit. They allow dogs, cats, rabbits, guinea pigs, ferrets, some birds, chickens and ducks. Who's bringing ducks over the Bass Strait? Real quick, we'll be making a separate video on this as there's so much information in regards to taking your pet with you, so make sure you click that bell so you won't miss it. As always with any ship, there could be special terms and conditions in regards to your vehicle for boarding. If, for example, gas and jerry cans. So please check their website. I'll put a link below. Now, when it comes to accommodation on the ferry, you've got a couple of options. With 222 cabins and 121 recliners on board, supreme comfort is what Spirit of Tasmania does best. No matter your budget, there are options to suit all travellers. Enjoy a journey that's more than just a ferry to Tasmania. Cabins are definitely the most comfortable option. They range from the deluxe to the 4-bed inside cabin. So make sure you check the website for the price that suits you. Let's go inside. If you're on a budget or just looking for a cheaper option, you can always go for the recliners. This is basically like a big lounge area with reclining chairs. It's not the most private or luxurious option, but you can save quite a bit of money, and you still have access to the main facilities like the cafes, bars and entertainment areas. But just beware, you cannot escape other people snoring and other sounds they might make during the night. So we opted for a cabin on our trip because we're actually crossing over at night and we wanted to get a good night's sleep and some privacy. But if you're not too worried about the sleep situation and you want to save a bit of money, the recliners might be the way to go. So now we're all settled in, let's show you how to make the most of the Spirit of Tasmania itself. Once you're on board, there is heaps to do, from movies and TV to bars and games. And if you've got kids, there's even a kids play area. If you've been watching us for a while, you will know that we love watching our movies, mostly drive-in, but still. Yes, they have a cinema here with 2 screens and 4 movie options. I can tell you it does help pass the time before bed. And lastly, before you ask, yes, Wi-Fi is available in all common areas, enabling passengers to gain access to the internet. One of the best things to do on board is simply to relax and take in the views at sunset. You've got huge windows offering panoramic views of the Bass Strait, perfect for a sunset or sunrise. We love grabbing a coffee or wine and just watching the world go by. Let's not forget about the food. On board there is a vast array of dining options to tempt even the fussiest eater. Whether it be the Tasmanian Market Kitchen for dinner or a later night drink or pizza at the Top Deck Lounge, there's something for everyone. Now, sometimes the crossing can get a little bit bumpy and food and drink may not be on your mind. You can purchase seasick medication from the gift shop on deck called the Pantry, and sick bags are strategically placed all over the ship.
There and there.
Here. Now, let's get into money saving tips. I know that travelling with a vehicle, especially on this ferry, can get really expensive, but there are a few ways you can cut costs. Tip number 1, book early. Prices can be a lot cheaper if you book a few months in advance. For this trip we booked over 6 months prior, and by doing this we were able to ensure there was enough room for our van and to be able to secure a cabin. Tip number 2, the Spirit of Tasmania often runs deals for off-peak travel. So if you're flexible with your dates, you might save a bit of money there. Tip number 3, be strategic with your travel dates. Look on the calendar maybe a few days before and after your ideal date, as they may be a couple of $100 cheaper. Avoid peak periods like school holidays, long weekends and Christmas. Tip number 4, we totally recommend you book a return ticket or at least book your return trip at least 3 months in advance, because we have heard of people being stuck in Tasmania because they haven't booked a return trip and they've had to fly back and pick up their caravan later. Not only that, the price of those return trips will rise. Book early. As we have now completed our trip over the Bass Strait, it's time to disembark. Here's a quick rundown on how it all goes down if you're in a van or any vehicle on board. First off, make sure you've got all your personal stuff with you. The crew will advise you when you can start heading down to your van. Once you are down on the vehicle deck, stay in your van and do not start your engine until the crew gives the go-ahead to start moving. It's important to stay in your vehicle until they signal it's time to go. Once all is safe, the crew will guide you off the ship in an orderly fashion, so be patient. It'll move pretty quickly. If you're travelling on foot, make your way to the designated exit and follow the signs to the terminal. And of course, remember to check the weather outside, especially if you're in Tassie's cooler months. It could be a bit brisk. So we've now made it to Devonport, and can I say that was pretty smooth. It was probably the smoothest ride across Bass Strait that we've had, and Pablo was okay. Just again, we will make a separate video about bringing your pet on board. There's 2 options about that. There's the kennels and leaving him in the van, but we'll get into that in another episode. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I just want to say thank you to everybody who subscribed. We've just hit 10,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for sticking with us through thick and thin. And we'll see you next time.
Always leave a comment.
Always leave a comment. See you guys.